In a faraway land created by the media, known as Arabia, located in the middle of the desert with camels, threatening men with hatred in their eyes, exotic seductive belly dancers, who cover themselves up in public, oppressed and living in the shadows of men. A land that promotes violence and chaos. Could the recent events of the revolutions in the Arab world defeat these stereotypes? Or will Arabs remain the villains of the world forever? Stereotypes become ingrained in our minds at a young age, manipulating the thoughts of children.
Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home.
Any terrorist attack that occurs is often connected with Arabs, leading them to become the main suspects and creating a sense of fear and discrimination against Arabs in the media.
Investigation that, in fact, he was on board that plane, that Emirates Airlines Dubai-bound flight. He was sitting on the plane and was taken off that plane. So that is
Even in the case of the Oklahoma City bombing, the primary suspect was an Arab, which the bomber was later confirmed to be an ordinary white American boy by the name of Timothy McVeigh.
Every time you turn on the news, I kind of blame the media for what's going on wrong in the world right now, because they kind of just perpetuate stereotypes about people. They don't tell you that's what they're doing. They don't go, hey, this is what you need to think. But they know how people's brains work. What they do, they enforce all this shit, you know? What they do is they'll show you an image of somebody of a different racial background, and then they'll show you an alternate image, like right away, of something completely different. They don't say the two images are together. They kind of present it like, what do you think? Like what they do is they'll show you like an Asian guy and then a car accident. They'll show you an Indian guy and a 7-Eleven. What do you think? They'll show you an Arab guy and an explosion. I knew it, you know. That's how they get in your head. They put it in there. And whenever they show you like Arabic being spoken on TV, it's always like these crazy people in these protests in the Arab world. And they're all speaking this really harsh Arabic. And so it's like...
Yet the news headlines presented a different perspective on Arabs during the revolutions in the region, referring to Arabs as peaceful and inspiring. The media revealed crowds of peaceful protesters demanding their rights in an attempt to topple the dictators that ran their countries. Dictators who often helped in portraying false representations of Arab people as a whole. Meet Paul Yost, a former colleague of mine who grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania and is currently serving time in Iraq. What Paul had to say about the revolution is that the negative stereotypes have increased, but only slightly due to the revolutions in the Middle East. I also think it will be a long time before the American view on Arabs becomes more positive. There seems to be too much anti-Arab propaganda, if you don't mind my calling it that. In every movie or TV show you see in the US, it is either portraying the average Arab as a terrorist bomber or a rich millionaire. Since my first deployment in 2008, I would like to think that I have been privileged in being able to see the real life of most Iraqi civilians and being able to make my own assumptions towards them. I personally love some of the differences between life in the US and life in Iraq, especially their views on family values and friendships. I would have liked to see what their lives were before the war and turmoil began. When I first saw the protests in Iran a few years ago and the more recent revolutions and protests, I found myself very happy for them. I am glad that they have the courage to stand up for what they believe to be right, and I hope that they continue to do so. I am very happy that Egypt was able to topple their older government, and I hope that they get everything they wish for. The U.S. Army wants every Arab treated with total respect and understanding. We are given multiple classes on Arabic culture. Our leaders strongly encourage interaction with the locals and try to be very friendly. They also want us to understand that not every Arab is a terrorist. Sadly, though, most of that gets thrown out of the window as soon as the class ends. Many, but not all of the leaders I have known have an absolute hatred for any Arab they see. When new soldiers come into frontline troops or companies, they immediately start to have that idea rubbed onto them. I asked a few guys I work with what their views are on the revolutions. A few of them said that they are surprised that they are going on. Many wondered why it took so long to start, but seemed to be happy that they did happen. Then there were a couple had very nasty remarks about it and Arab people as a whole. So how can we help stop negative Arab stereotypes? Build awareness through social media networks such as Facebook, Twitter, or blogging. Use the media to combat the negative stereotypes that it constantly portrays of Arabs. Educate others and let them know that we are all not Osama bin Ladens. Rather, we are normal individuals who lead normal, everyday lives. And although we may be misrepresented in the media, Arab men are not all violent, hateful people. The women do indeed have voices. And Arabs will no longer accept being the cultural other. As the year 2011 has become the year of revolutions and revelations, we too will reveal ourselves and aim to become inspirations to the rest of the world.